welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. And if you're eagle-eyed, you will say, hang on, that puzzle on the screen, I've seen it before. And you'd be correct, this is yesterday's puzzle. And that is because, as is his wont sometimes, Mark has asked me to open today's puzzle live on camera, which I'm happy to do. And this time, unusually for him, he has told me something about the puzzle we're about to see. He has told me that this is the highest rated puzzle on Logic Masters Germany for the number of people who've solved it. So apparently it has a 100% rating, despite the fact that an enormous number of people have actually played and solved it. Now it's really hard, obviously. The more people that solve a puzzle, the more likely it is you get somebody who solves it and goes, well, it was good, but it wasn't absolutely tip-top. But this one apparently has wowed everybody. Now, with that, let's actually see why. Let me paste it into the browser, and we've got... we've got Wrogn. Wrogn Answers Only by James Sinclair, and the world's busiest grid by the looks of things. Okay, well, I'm guessing, I've not read the rules yet, but I'm guessing every clue we're given is going to be a lie, essentially. What we're dealing with here is a puzzle full of perfidy. It's going to be a completely mendacious puzzle in which all of the clues are going to be wrong. So I'm guessing, for example, that those two cells do not add up to 5. This is the nonsense we're going to be told. I'm not quite sure how it's going to be working for the German whispers lines. We'll have to read the instructions to find out if indeed they are German whispers lines. Can't see the word German whispers in the instructions as I scan them. But anyway, so this is going to be somehow mental, and James Sinclair has obviously constructed something. It's garnered huge approval. In fact, the word 100%. Oh, I thought it was saying 100% in the instructions, as in announcing it had a 100% rating. It's not. It's saying that all clues are wrong. A clue is wrong if it is not 100% correct. Right. Okay. So it is nonsense. Okay. The whole grid is going to be full of nonsenses, and it will be our job to unscramble the nonsenses. Now, before we kick off, a couple of things to mention. I'll start actually with a thank you to Irina Snow, who sent us this sketch on Twitter this morning. I love things like this. I can't draw for toffee. And when people send us this, look, there's a 3 in the corner out of 45, so Irina has revealed the secret. And yeah, some little cartoon Simon and a little cartoon Mark. Very nice indeed. Thanks very much for sending us that, Irina. And you should follow us on Twitter, by the way, at Cryptic Cracking. There's all sorts of interesting stuff we get to see over there. Now, the next interesting stuff, though, I need to talk to you about is the Kickstarter, which is coming to a conclusion. So this is the quest to make Cracking the Cryptic's Greatest Hits Volume 2. There are just 3 days left. And we released the final stretched goals last night. So let me tell you about some of those in case any of these take your fancy. We have got, me reading viewer selected poetry. So that's one of them. So if we get a little bit more money, I'm going to be doing that. We've got more new puzzles with videos as a thing as well. Oh yes, and if we hit 191,302, which is the total we reached for our first book, then we will do season 2 of the podcast, which many of you have asked for. So there are a couple of things there that might tickle your fancy. But anyway, if you want to grab a copy of the book, there really isn't much time left. And this is, I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen. And that's where you go to get it. Other than that, over on Patreon, our November monthly reward, I need to read out some more names of correct solvers of the 12 Labours of Hercules Sudoku hunt. So very well done to Chanel Dawes, Joris Codard, Violet Ashman, Harrison Beer, Ian Wallace, Stephen Lee, Mr. Potato, Mar Jose, Michael Kioski, Stefan Vona, Jürgen Vokenfuss, Julie Bernhardt, Nosferatiel, Robert Dahlstrom, and Leonardo Trigiani. You all sent in the correct answers. Congratulations. I'm just noticing this puzzle on the screen only just fits in my window. It's a good job it does, or that would have been a bit of a shank. Anyway, and now some birthdays. So happy birthday to Alyssa, who's turned 18 today. Now I have to say, Alyssa, I don't think we've ever had such consistent friend requests regarding a birthday. So you have two friends, I think, called Olivia, who wrote to us, and also a friend called Seema, and they were all very, very anxious that we announced your birthday today. So Alyssa, we hope you have an absolutely brilliant 18th birthday. I understand cheesecake is your favourite, and well, if it's chocolate cheesecake, then that is of course appropriate. Also, now this is a name I'm not going to get right. I'm going to try. Przemyslaw or Przemyslav, possibly. 37 you've turned today, and your wife Anita, it could be Aneta as well in Poland. I could be butchering everyone's names. I'm so sorry if I am, but I do hope that you have a brilliant, brilliant birthday with, of course, cake. And then finally, Teddy. Now, Teddy, I know that you try and watch both videos every day and to solve both puzzles. That's really terrific. That really is. And I hope you have a brilliant day. And the reason I know it's your birthday is that your boyfriend Jack wrote to us. And happy birthday to you, Teddy. Now, that's everything. Let's have a look at the puzzle. It's got an enormous rule set. This is the thing with Wrogn puzzles. Because all the rules, we have to solve it with all the rules being wrong. We have to explain all the rules, and you can see that this puzzle seems to have more clues in it than you can shake a stick at. So what's going on? We've got the following. Normal Sudoku rules apply. That's a good start. All clues are wrong. A clue is wrong if it is not 100% correct, i.e., along purple lines, digits cannot form a consecutive non-repeating set. Okay, so imagine this. Imagine we worked out this was 1, 2, 3. I think what that's saying is that couldn't be a 4. That's how I read that. So we can have some consecutive cells on this line, but they can't all be consecutive with each other. Along green lines, at least one pair of adjacent digits must have a difference of 5 or less. At least one pair. Right, okay, so that's saying, let's look at this green line. I think what that's saying is I could have something like 9, 3, 8, and then this digit. So at the moment we look like we're obeying German whispers. Each pair of adjacent digits is at least 5 different from each other. So this one would have to break that constraint in order to make sure this whole line was wrong. So that would have to be quite close to 7. It would have to be within 5 of the digit 8. So it would have to be 4, 5, 6, 7. They would be the only Sudoku options. So that line would be broken, is I think what that part of the rules is saying. Don't worry, we've still got many, many more sentences, paragraphs of rules to go. Along thermometers, digits cannot increase from bulb to tip. Okay, so the thermometers have to not work. So we could do 1, 3, 2. That would break, because normally along thermometers we have to increase to the bulb end. Here we wouldn't have done that. Brackets. Digits can repeat along purple, green lines and thermometers if allowed by other rules. Okay, so that might be to do with this thermometer, is it? So we can repeat. But if we repeat, we're breaking the thermometer. So, but I think presumably it's saying we could do something like that. There's no requirement these two digits wouldn't be the same. We just have to make sure we break the thermometer. And we will do everything we can to break the thermometer, let me tell you. Digits on arrows cannot sum to the digit in the attached circle. Can't see it. Oh, there is. Oh, I can see there are very short arrows. Right, so all we're being told here, this is how ludicrous this rule set is. All you're being told here is that this digit is not the same as this digit. I mean, that is going to be something I doubt we major on at the start of the solve. At least one of the digits inside a larger white circle must not appear in any of the 4 cells surrounding that circle. At least one of the... Oh, that's interesting. Right, so that's saying You see this 1, 9 clue here in the middle of this circle? At least one must not appear. Yeah, so we're saying we could have a 1 or a 9 in that 2 by 2, but not both. So in this one, all we're saying is there's no 1 in those 4 cells. But in that one, we're saying there's no... You can't, well, basically you can't have a 1 and a 2 within those 4 cells. So that's something we're going to have to bear in mind. Digits in cells separated by a V cannot sum to 5. Oh yes, okay, we have got those. So those two can't add up to 5. Again, it's so ludicrous. I mean, how is this going to help? Digits in cells separated by an X cannot sum to 10. Those dotted around, don't make those add up to 10. Digits in cells separated by a white dot are not consecutive. We've got loads of those, look, in the middle box. So we mustn't, you know, if this was a 1, that can't be a 2, is what that's saying, because then it would be consecutive. And digits in cells separated by a black dot do not have a 1:2 ratio. So let's try that one, because it's a little bit out of the clutter that exists in the centre. So if that's a 4, this cell could not be a 2, and it could not be an 8, is what we're being told there. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. I'll adjust my glasses. Let's get cracking. And we will start with what? Well, let's start with a quick audit of what clues here are going to be useful. Now, my instinct is that X's and V's are not very useful, because knowing that 2 cells in a domino don't sum to 5 or 10 feels useless. The quadruple clues, well, some of the quadruple clues, by which I mean these big circles, are interesting. Oh, 1. Okay, let's have a look at that. 1 in row 6 and 7, look, can't go in any of those cells, because if we put a 1 in any one of them, we'll be making its quadruple clue correct. Now, there have to be 2 1s in this row and this row, so those 1s have to live at the end of the row. So we've got 1s in these cells. Well, that's nearly interesting. Can that be? No, that can't be a 1. That one can't be a 1. Here is a deduction involving an arrow, which I wasn't expecting to get, because if that's a 1... Oh no, hang on, that's not true. I've already completely fooled myself. I was thinking if that was a 1, that would have to be a 1, and that would break that clue. But of course, if that's a 1, what we'd be saying is that must not be a 1, and therefore we would never break that clue. Oh, goodness me. Right, I'm already discombobulated. Okay, so what do we get from these 1 pencil marks? Almost nothing then. Really almost nothing. That's so strange. Oh. Ah, right, okay, but look here. Yeah, this is going to do something. 9 can't be in any of those 6 cells, because that would make these clues correct. So 9 in box 6 is in one of those cells, overlapping with 1. Now that, if that was a 1-9 pair, it would make the X correct, because 1 and 9 add up to 10. So that tells us this digit is a 1 or a 9, because we must stop that being a 1-9 pair. And if that's a 1 or a 9, that is not a 1 or a 9. Oh, so now I have got rid of 1 here. Yeah, because if that was a 1 now, forget about this stuff down here. If that's a 1, that is a 9 by Sudoku, and that X clue's correct. So now I've got a 1 over here. This is so cool. So now, because I've got a 1 in this quadruple, if I was to have a 9 in this quadruple as well, it would be correct. So the 9 has to be in one of those cells. For the same reason this cell couldn't be a 1, it can't be a 9, because it would render that X clue correct. So now all of a sudden I've almost got the 9 down onto the thermometer, which is presumably going to be the point of this. How do I shunt it down slightly further? I don't want that to be a 9. If there's a 9 on the thermo, we could break the thermo by putting it in the bulb instantly. Bar humbug. I can't see how to do that. I can't see how to do it. Oh well. Okay, so maybe this is not... Maybe I've got to study this box. This box looks absolutely terrifying. I'm trying not to look at this box. Oh, I was about to say I could put a 4 in one of those, but I can't look. Because that one is saying there's no 4 in those cells, but I could have a 4 in these cells, providing I don't also have a 7 in those 4 cells. Good grief. 1... Okay, let's try 1 in this box. Because 1 can't be there because of this quadruple. It can't be here because of this quadruple. And it can't be in those cells because of this quadruple. So 1 is in this. Oh, I was thinking I wasn't going to be able to see the pencil marks, but I can. So 1 is in those cells. 2 is not in those cells. Oh, 2. Good. Oh, I've got a digit. That's a surprise. Where's 2 in this box? It can't be in that quadruple. It can't be in that quadruple. And it can't be in that quadruple. So it must only go there. Oh, right. Okay, that's lovely. I've got the 1 as well. Good grief. I'm really surprised. I've actually got 2 digits. Because now neither of those can be a 1. Because if either was a 1, it would be on a black dot domino. And 1 and 2 are in a ratio of 1 to 2 with each other. So 1 is in the centre of the grid. Now, what on earth does that mean? I mean, I don't know. Is it something to do with 4s maybe, this 2 clue? 4 in this box, let me think about that, is not in those 2 cells because of the black dot with the 2. Oh yeah, look, it's not in a... It can't be on a V relationship with a 1 either, so 4 is not in those 4 cells. So 4 is in one of just 3 positions in the box. Now, I can get rid of that one by the quadruple clue, so that's not a 4. And I can... Oh, if that's a 4, that would stop that being a 1 across that V. What about if that's a 4? Oh, okay, maybe it's not actually about this box. Maybe it's about this box again. Because look, 4 now is not in those cells by sudoku, and it's not in those cells by quadruple clue. So it's in those cells on the black dot, and what's more, it's affecting this 4-7 clue, which now cannot have a 7 in those cells. So there's a 7 in one of those 5 cells. That's proper pencil marking, that is. But I'm absolutely prepared to do it in a Wrogn puzzle. It's almost any deduction you get, you've got to keep track of. Okay. Right. What does that mean? I don't know. Oh, gosh, I've got nothing here. What is it? Okay, if 2 is in this quadruple, 7 can't also be in this quadruple. So 7 is in another of these V pentominoes. So 7 is in one of those cells, and 7 is in one of those cells. Is that supposed to be in any way helpful? I don't know. Oh, maybe it's 9. Yes. Well, a little bit. No, absolutely. It's fixed. This is important. Right. Using the fact I've got 9s in one of those 3 cells, where does 9 go now in box 5? Can't go in these cells by sudoku. Can't be on an X with a 1 because it would add up to 10. So it's in one of these 2 cells, and there's a quadruple clue here with a 9 in it, so it goes right at the top of the box here. Which means there must be a 9 in one of... No, we can improve slightly further. 9 by sudoku is in one of these 3 cells, but it can't be there. Again, it would complete that quadruple clue. So 9's in one of two places now. Right. Okay. I've got nothing here. I've got absolutely nothing. Come on, brain. Think of something. This 9, it gave me these two as a 9. There doesn't seem to be as much action in box 4, does there? Okay, what is it then? Oh, no, I was about to pencil mark a 1 down here, but that's total nonsense. There is not a 1 there. So maybe... Yes. Okay, where does 1 go in box 8? Every little deduction, it gives you a little hit of adrenaline, a moment of euphoria. You can't put 1 in there. You can't put 1 in there because of that quadruple. You can't put 1 in here by this quadruple. And that's a quadruple clue with a 1 in it. So there's a 1 on this dot, on this V, I should say. So there's no 4 on this V. Which, I don't really think that's... I've got a 4 in one of those cells, and no 4 in these cells. No, I don't think that... Well, it doesn't seem to do anything, does it? This Renban? We're now saying this is not 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, I never thought it was going to be. This Whisper, we're saying we can't have... Oh, I see. Actually, that is it. That is interesting, actually. Oh, how weird. Oh, that's beautiful. Actually, that is fair play. That is beautiful. That's a really interesting deduction. Right. Okay, these two cells, one of them at least has to be quite a low number, because otherwise the Whisper will be correct. Because we need at least one domino, there are basically two dominoes taken up. This 3-cell Whisper line, 3-cell green line, has 2 dominoes within it. And it's not possible for both of these digits to be 5 away from 1 at least, because then the Whisper will be correct. So one of them needs to be 4 or less away from 1, but can't be 2 and can't be 4, because these two can't take those 2 digits. So one of these digits, at least, is 3 or 5, but this cannot be 3 or 5 at all, because if that's a 3 or a 5, it's going to be next to a 4, and 3 and 5 are consecutive. 3 or 5 are consecutive with 4, and the white dot, wherever the 4 goes, the white dot will be rendered correct. That's gorgeous. So that is a 3 or a 5, so it's not a 7. This is... Well, no, there's loads going on. That is not a 7. That is one thing we can say, because it has to be a 3 or a 5. So the 7 has shifted down to the bottom row, or row 6 in box 5, so it's not in any of those cells. So there is now a 7 here in box 4 in one of those 2 cells, but perhaps more importantly, this can no longer be a 4, because it would be on a white dot with a 3 or a 5 and be consecutive and render the clue correct. So if that's not the 4, I get another digit. That's a 4. Oh, and look, this is lovely. So that means that's not a 1, because that would correct that V. So that's a 9. There's no 9 over here anymore. There's no 9 in these 2 cells. Now, can that really be? Well, it could be a 9, couldn't it? It's unlikely to be a 9. But if that was a 9, you'd have to... It would obviously be the biggest digit you could put on the thermo, and it would be in the correct position. So these would have to be the wrong way round. So if that's a 9, I need that digit to be higher than that digit. Okay. Can I do anything else? I don't know. Oh, look, this green line is correct at the moment. 9, then 4. Well, those two are 5 apart. Ooh, I can nearly place the other of 3 and 5 in this box as well. Because it can't go on either of those two cells because it will correct the white dot with the 4. So neither of those can be 3 or 5. So either this cell is 3 or 5. Now why can't that be, or that one is? I don't know. There's probably a trick we can do there, but I'm just not spotting it. Bobbins. Right, okay, so... okay, so can we do anything else with any of these nonsenses now? We could argue that... I haven't got a clue. Again, this is the problem with these puzzles, is that just where do you look for the next trick? All right, I'm going to note something about box 6, and that's where 7 can go. I can't put 7 in those because it will correct this 2, 7 quadruple, and I've got a 7 down here now, which can't go in those cells. So there must be a 7 in that quadruple. Which is, again, that feels like a fairly useless deduction. Okay, so maybe it must be box 5, mustn't it? This is where all the action is happening. So 3, is 3 somehow restricted in this box? And if so, how? I mean, 3, I think, has got 3 possible positions. I think. It's perfectly possible, and don't shout at me if I've missed a trick here. It's perfectly possible one of these can't be a 3 for a reason I'm not immediately detecting. But I can't see why those can't have 3 in them. So then the next digit is 5. Now I think we've got 5 locked into exactly the same 3 positions. Is there some reason why? Don't know. I can't see anything there. So 6. What about 6 in this box? What is it that's going to restrict to 6? 6 couldn't be next to 5 or... yes. Well, ish. So 6 can't be here. It can't be in this domino because it will be consecutive with the 7 that I know exists in one of those two cells. So, and 6 can't be here because this seems to have to be a 3 or a 5. So 6 is restricted to one of those two positions, which is rather wonderful. 7 we know is in one of those. 8 I've not even thought about. So what can we say about 8? 8 could be... I can't see any clue in the grid that has 8 in it. You know, there's no quadruple clue that contains an 8. So I fear 8 has all sorts of options. I think 8 can be in all of those cells, except this one. So that's quite disappointing. So basically this is the most, well, these two are the most restricted. That can only be 6 or 8. That can only be 7 or 8. But, unfortunately, I think both of those things are very, well, they're not resolved. So we're going to have to look, we're going to have to find something else. Goodness only knows what. Right. Where is 1? Where's 1 in this box, maybe? I've got a 1 here and a 1 here. So 1's in one of those 3 cells. That's quite good. So if that's 4, that has to be the 1. Can we improve on that? Is there a way? Probably. Can I see the way? No. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because there's nowhere to really to look. 1 in this box. Okay, I can't put 1 and 2 down here. But so all I'm getting from that is that there's a 1 in one of those 6 cells, and I think I sort of already knew that if I'd focused on this one over here. Great. Okay, so we're going to have to find something else. What on earth could it be? Is it going to involve... Is it this whisper? Is that whisper doing any more damage? I know it. No, it's not, because I already know it's broken. It's broken by this domino. So this is completely free and clear of all charges. It doesn't have to do any more work to be found innocent. Okay. Is there some... I've got 4 in one of those 2 squares, haven't I? So I can't have 2 or 8 in these cells in box 4. So the 2 in this box is in one of 5 positions. That's hopeless. That's hopeless. Oh no, we're already grinding to a total halt here. That cell... Oh, that cell can't be a 4. It would be consecutive with 3 or 5. Whoa, see this little white dot? It is easy to miss miss this white dot amongst the plethora of clues we're dealing with. But if that was a 4, it would be consecutive, so that's not a 4. So there's a 4 up there. That's huge then. Wow. Because that's no longer able to be a 1 across this V clue, which gives me a 1. It gives me 3 digits. I don't believe it. Look, getting this 1 forces that to be a 7 and that to be a 9. Just unwinding our pencil marks. Unsurprisingly, this looks like it's working in terms of its whisperage. Right, okay, so now... What on earth does that mean? The answer is I don't know yet, but I feel more positive about the world. Like we might be able to do something now. Yes, okay, now with a 1 here, look. I can't put a 1 in those cells, and I can't put a 1 in those cells because of the quadruple. So there is a 1 down here in this 1-2 clue. So there is no 2 in this clue. So there must be a 2 in that V pentomino. Is there some reason that we can't have a 2 in any of those positions? Probably not. Okay, so... Oh no, I was going to say 7 is restricted. I've actually already got the 7, so let's not... Oh, 7... Okay, so 7 is not in those cells anymore in box 6. 7 is up here, which is putting a very marginal restriction on where 3 can't go in that domino now, because it would make a correct X total. So 2 is not there. 2 in this box is restricted, look. If because 2 if it was here, it would correct this black dot. There was a bit of a pregnant pause there while I was trying to work out something about this Renban line and failing. My brain let me down. So there's a 2 in one of these. Oh, that's gorgeous. 8. Yeah, look. If there's a 2 in one of these cells. No, actually I'm wrong. I could hide the 2 and the 8 away from each other. Oh, that's bobbins worthy. I can't put an 8 there because it would touch a 2 on one side of it. Oh, I was really hopeful that was going to be useful. Sorry, it's not. But it does give me a 2 in one of these 3 cells, which again is quite restrictive in terms of 4s and 8s in this box, isn't it? But again, I could keep the 2 and the 4 apart. I was just looking at this 4. My brain is flitting all over the place. Let me just come back to this renban line, actually, because I've got to be a bit careful with this digit. Because if this digit is 3 or 5, that is a 435 triple, and that's not allowed because the renban would be correct. So that digit is, you can see it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 4, it's not 3 or 5. So it's only able to be 6 or 8, which makes a pair in the row. Good grief. Good grief. Yeah, okay. By sudoku then, it's only able to be 6 or 8. Now that cell we know is 6 or 8 because we fully pencil marked this box. You can view these corner marks as central pencil marks because I actually went through and did every single digit. So now I've got a 6-8 pair. Right, and this is good because now, which we could see from 4s actually, look, there is a 4 in one of these, which is what I've only just picked up upon. But now I can't put the 4 in the middle because it will be adjacent to a 2 on a domino that has a 1-to-2 ratio. So the 4 must live in the sides of the row, but then I can't put 2 in the middle because that will be still next to the 4, so we get a 2-4 pair in those 2 squares. Which means that this square, no, I haven't broken it. Suddenly I thought these were white dots. I'm going completely and utterly insane. Well, this is a 3 or 5 by sudoku now. But neither of those digits are illegal on black dots, so that's absolutely fine. Okay, so what can we do with this? I mean, I can see if that's a 6, that's going to have to be a 3 to stop that being consecutive. 6-8 pair here. I thought that was going to be more useful than it has been, actually. Can we do anything good at all here? I'm not sure. Is this 3-5 playing some sort of game with this cell? It's stopping it being a 6, isn't it? So the 6 is in one of those two. I'd already appreciated that. Okay. Let's instead, I don't know where to look. Maybe I change. I'm going to go through this box and change to central pencil marking just to make sure that I'm keeping track of that. That's not 3-5. 3-5, 7, 8 here. So take out the 3, 5, 7, 8 in the corners. Put 7, 8 in there. Take out 7, 8 in the corners. Okay, and take out the 6, 8 on the side of that. And now stare again and see if we can see what it is. It's probably this central box still that we've got to figure something out in. Oh, it is. Well, no, it's not. It's that. That can't be an 8 because it would be correct on the black dot. That's a 6. Wow. So that's an 8, which means that's a 7. Ooh, this is huge then. Now I've got a 3-5 pair here. So that's a 6 by sudoku. Oh, and look, and now this renban does come into its own. 4, 6, that can't go with 5, because 4, 5 and 6 are consecutive. So that gives me a 3, gives me a 5. I've done a whole box of this nonsense. 5 goes there by sudoku. So now I know what these digits are. They are 3, 7 and 8. Aha! That's interesting. So we have to make sure the 8 plays gooseberry, basically. If this was 3 or 7, on one side it will form an X domino that adds to 10. So we must insert the 8 between the naughty and canoodling 3 and 7 to stop them canoodling. Oh, do I have a pencil mark? Yes, the 2, 7 here stops that being a 7. So that's 3, that's 7. More digits, that's 5 by sudoku. So those 2 squares are 1 and 6. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the corner pencil marks there. I know what these cells are now. These cells are 2, 3 and something. 2, 3 and 8. Oh, Well, it's the same. I've got now the 3. Now it's in this box, it's the 2 and the 8 that are misbehaving, and they have to be kept apart by the 3. So we put the 3 in the middle. Otherwise, we're going to have a 2-8 domino. And now, well, if that's a 2, that would have to be an incorrect digit, because otherwise that whisper's looking awfully correct. Oh, it is a 2 because of the white dot. It's so, yeah, I mean, I appreciate it'll only be me probably watching the video or making the video who doesn't see that white dot. But I'm trying to keep track of a lot, it feels like. So this cell now is unable to be 6 or higher because this will be correct. So it's got to be within 5, well, within 4 of this. So it's got to be 5 or lower, 5, 4 or 3. Okay. Those cells are not 2 anymore, look. So we've got, I've got a 2 on this domino. I can get 2 in this box. It's not there, because if it was there, it would be consecutive with 3. So this is not 2. What I like about this, that's an 8 now. So what's going on this line? It's correct. Oh, yeah, look. 9 is 6 different. That's 5 different. That's 6 different. So this has got to be within 5. It mustn't be 7. It must be lower than 7. So what are the options? 1? It's not actually, it's not 1. I've got a 1 pencil mark down here. Is that correct? Yeah, because of the quadruple clue. Okay, so it's not 1 or 2 or 3. It could be, no, it can't be 4 because of the black dot. This is crazy. It can't be 5 by Sudoku. So it must be 6, because if it's anything else, it will be 5 away from 2. And the whisper line will be correct. So that has become a 6 out of literally nowhere. There's a 6 up here by our old friend Sudoku. A friend who deserts us so often. Now, what do we do now? Can we do something over here? Whoa. Yes, I can. That can't be a 1. That's beautiful, actually. That's a beautiful little deduction. If that's a 1, it's making this a 6 and this a 1 and rendering that green line absolutely beautifully correct. Well, in this puzzle, that's not welcome. So that's a 1, that's a 6, that's a 1. Now, I already know I can't put 9 in there. I've already obviously thought about that. Right, so this digit, this is still correct, this whisper at this point. 6, then 1. So this needs to be quite low to break the whisper. So it can't be as high as 6. So it's got to be 2, 3, 4, or 5. It's not 2. It's 3, 4, or 5. Which is nearly good, but unfortunately not quite good enough. So where should we look next? 4 can't go down here in this column because it would be on the V, which would be correct. So 4. 4 is on the black dot. 4 can't go there because it would correct this clue. So there's a 4 at the top of the grid, which means we can't put 2 or 8 up here. Well, that is interesting, actually. That is interesting, because if we can't put 2 or 8 in either of those cells in the column, then these 3 cells, you can see, have to contain 2, 8, and apparently 1. So these are a 1, 2, 8 triple, which means the 4 up here goes with 7, apparently, and 4 and 7 is very fine on a black dot because it's most assuredly wrong, and that in this puzzle is all you could ask for. Now this is on a V, so that's not helpful. Right, so 7. Right, okay, so we'll do some pencil marking. 4 is in one of those. Is there any restriction on any of those positions? Not that I can see. 7 is in one of these. Is there any restriction on that? If that's 7, it would break the whisper, which would be a good thing. Oh, I don't know. I can see that can't be an 8 for what it's worth. Is that somehow important? It feels like grasping at an almighty straw, doesn't it? Can we get these 2 digits somehow? Oh, we can. Look, there's a Ren band there. Almost 5, 6, 7. If that's a 4, it's correct. That's got to be 2. Wow. So that must do something. Oh, look, that digit is interesting, because this line is correct at the moment again. So this has got to be quite close to 8. So it's got to be 4 or higher, which is... Oh, well, yes, okay, it's got to be 4. Oh, this is lovely. It's actually forced. It is forced. That's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's got to be quite close to 8, because it can't be 5 away. Otherwise, it will leave a correct green line. So, what are the actual options? Let's actually put them all in, and we'll eliminate them all one by one. Well, it can't be 8. That's itself. It's on a white dot, so it can't be consecutive with 8. Oh, I don't know what I put in there. So it's now reduced to being 4, 5, or 6. It can't be 5 or 6. It's only left with the ability to be 4. So that's not a 4 over there. There's a 4 in one of those, whoopsie, one of these 3 cells. Okay. Okay. Can I do something with 2 here? 2 is very nearly restricted in this box, but I think it can be in any of those at the moment. Why couldn't that be a 2? I don't know. I don't know. This V clue, that V clue was pushing the 4 up there, so it did have a purpose. 4 is in one of these. Goodness me. Right, I don't know what to do now. So, what could it be, do you think? Your guess is as good as mine. I have not got a clue. Maybe I have to pencil mark, do I? 2s, 3s, 7s and 9s. I don't really want to do that, I have to say. That cell can't be a 9, so that's 2, 3 or 7. Can't be a 9 because it would correct this quadruple. That cell can't be a 1. I wasn't intending to make it a 1, so that's not surprising. Oh, hang on. That cell can't be 3 or 5. Okay, this cell's more restricted than I'd realised. Because if it was 3 or 5, it would correct this green line. Oh, sorry, the white dot. I wasn't thinking about the green line, but I'm about to, I suspect. Because now this digit can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. It's 7, 8, or 9. And if it was... it's nearly... It's fine. It's fine. It can't be 8 by sudoku. It can't... Oh no, hang on, the line isn't complete. Oh no, it's almost forced. In fact, it's probably going to be 9 so that it puts pressure on this. Wow. Okay. That's so nearly forced, isn't it? Is there a way of ruling some digit out from this cell? Either the 7 or the 9. I'd be interested in either. I don't think so. I say that with such little confidence, really do. Okay, let's try that digit then, because again I'm sort of seeing sudoku is helpful. I've got 1, 2, 6 in the row and 3, 5, 9 in the column, and potentially a white dot, and potentially an X. Okay, what's that digit? So this is either 4 or 7 or 8 only. Now I can get rid of 8 because of the X. I can get rid of 4 because of the white dot. That's a naked single 7. Oh, this is it. This is it. Right. Well, let's just put some pencil marks in before we get this magnificent 9 digit here, which puts a 9 in one of those 3 cells. But I think much more interestingly, it puts pressure on this digit now, which can be a 4. But no, it can't be a 4. That would correct the green line. I must incorrect the green line. Right. So we've got to have a digit here that is somewhere reasonably close to 9. It's got to be higher than 4. So it's either 5, it's not 6, 7, it's 5 or 8. Literally 5 or 8. How can it still have optionality? Oh, you rotten thing. Alright, I'm now going to look at this row though, because that cell can't be 3 or 4. Because of the 3, 4 there. So the 3 and the 4 in this row have to be in the periphery. So that's a 3 or a 4. That's a 3 or a 4. This is a 5 or an 8, therefore. That's on an X domino, which is not helpful. This is not a 4, is it? Because it has to be 5 or 8. Yes, because if it was 4, it would be correcting the green line. Okay. So 4 is locked in down here. Two is in one of those cells. Okie dokie. And oh, 3. Right. Now where does 3 go in this box down here? That's a good question. Because we've got this X domino here, which means 3 can't go here because it would be tied up with a 7. And that would make it correct. So 3 seems to have to be in the same positions as 4. I say that hesitantly, but with a moderate amount of hope. So 3 has been locked over here now. 3, 4 pair. So what's the digit I've not thought about yet in this box? 1, 2, 5. It's 1, 2, 5, 7, 8. So these cells, they can't be 8 or 2. So they only have the ability to be 1s, 5s and 7s, I think. Oh, hang on. There's some, I think I've gone wrong here. That does not, well, I thought that was correct, but I'm now questioning myself. Let me think about this again. Sorry for boring you all, but I don't want to make a mistake. I fear it's very easy to do that. 1, 2, 5, 7 and 8, but 1 seems to be over there. So this is actually only 2. So I think this is a 5, 7 pair now, which is very weird. Well, that would give me this as an 8. I still don't believe this. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. Well, so 1, 5, 6, 7. 1, 5, 7. Yeah, it's right. So that seems to be 5, 7, which makes this an 8. Which makes this a 5. So this is now a 1, 2 pair, which makes that an 8. Okay, so that's not able to be 7 anymore by power of purple line. Oh, this is good. Right, so 7s are in these positions. Oh, this is beautiful. Actually, it's better than that. I know where the 7 goes in this little 2x2. If that's a 7, because this can't be a 7, it forces that to be a 7, and those would be the same digit, which would correct this arrow clue. So that can't be 7. That's 7, that's 7, that's 4. That's 7 by Sudoku. There's a 7 down here. No, there's a 5 here. So that can't be a 5 or it would be correct. So that's a 7. That's a 7. That's put 9. Oh, look what this has done. Oh, that is quite gorgeous as well. This is such a clever puzzle, honestly. Look, we've now got a 7 and a 9. On this thermometer. Well, how do we break this thermometer now? This can't be a low digit or it would go ascending. The only way of breaking it is by putting 8 here. So that's 8. There's an 8 in one of those 2 cells. That cell's a 5 by Sudoku. This can't be a 3 because that would make that a 10 clue. So that's 4. That's 3. Right, so what have we got now? Loads of things going on for a change. I've got a 9 in one of those two cells by sudoku. I've got, in this column, I need 1s, 2s and 6s. I'm going to put that in actually and have a stare. That can't be 1. So there is a 1 up here which is potentially relevant to this thermo. 4, look. Well, it's in one of those cells. But it's not here because it would be correct with that 4. So it's in one of 2 cells now. Oh, that's lovely as well. That can't be 4. It would be consecutive with whatever I put in that cell. So I get the 4. Okay, which is great, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't seem to do very much. I think that 4's let itself down rather. It was all dressed up for the ball, but then nobody came to take it. And it got left behind. Right, okay. So, what on earth do we do now? 3, 4. Okay, where does 2 go in this box? And the answer is, I don't know, but it's in one of those 2 cells. And that corrects this cell, and corrects this cell. Locks a 1 into one of those cells. Now these cells have to include a 4, so that gets me a 4 in the corner. No song, but very welcome nevertheless. These cells are now 2, 3 and 6. That one's got to be 3 and 6. These 2 cells have got to be 1 and 6, which I can do. Great. 6, 1. These 2 squares have got to be 5, 8, 9. Bobbins. Although, I say bobbins, I've just noticed that's become a 5 because of this 3. So that's the 5, that's the 9, this is the 8, and that is actually done. So this is 8 and something. And that something is 6, and that 6 can't go there because of the white dot. Good grief. So that puts 8 in the corner up there. 6, oh, 6 doesn't live here anymore, or here. These 2 cells are 1 and 2, which might be useful. And these 2 cells are 3 and 9. Now, surely we can do something here. He says, failing to do anything at all. Okay, I can't do anything there. That's very upsetting. Alright, 2, 5 and 9 into these squares. Let's put that in and see if that reveals it. That's not 5. No, it's going to be this thermo somehow, I suspect. Let's get these digits as well. 3, 6 and 1. So you can break this thermo just by putting a 1 here. In fact, that's not a 6, look. Oh, right, I've got a 1, 2 pair in the top row, so in fact that isn't a 1. That's disappointing, that would have broken the thermo, but now I've got a 3 here. That can't be a 2 because of this 1, 2 pair. So this has become a 5 or a 9, and you can see there's a 5 there. So that is in fact a 9, which makes this a 5, which is, I've got to be careful here. That can't be 1 now, because if that's 1, that will be 2, and the thermo will be correct. So the 1 in this column has to interrupt the thermo, which makes this a 1 and this a 2. Now the thermo is broken, no matter what this is. This is a 1, this is a 6. So this square is 2, 3 or 9 and can't be 2 or 9. That's 3. Therefore that's 3, that's 9, that's 2. That should be a 9. And in this row we just need 2, 5 and 6. So that's a naked single. That's a 6, that's a 5. I think this is done. 6, 2 and 3. What a great puzzle. Oh, I snuck in under an hour to solve it as well, which, including the introduction, which must have been about 25 minutes long, means that if this is... Looks good. Looks good. I wondered whether the software would say no. It's totally wrong, because Sven is so clever. He would often detect that there were sort of X's and V's in the grid that didn't add up. But somehow it also seems to know it's a wrogn puzzle, and it must obey the rules of Sudoku, otherwise Sven's check would not have worked. So I'm hopeful that is a correctly solved puzzle. That was just joyful, wasn't it? It's completely terrifying to sort of focus on this box. And what did I miss? I missed loads of things throughout the solve. And I'm sorry if you got angry with me about that. But I promise you I wasn't trying to miss anything. I was trying to do it with a fair amount of aplomb, and probably failing as usual. But I did have a great time. It's a lovely puzzle, very clever. Favourite bits? Let me think. I really liked, actually, in general, the way the whispers worked. It was really surprising that they, like the fact that in this box, quite early on, I had to have a low digit in one of those cells, and it couldn't go here because I worked out there was a 4 in one of those. That was lovely, and I really liked this little arrow as well, and the way it worked with the sort of the 2x2 of 7 pencil marks that we found. It's quality. I would give it 100% too, James. So take a bow. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back later for another edition of Cracking the Cryptic. And please support the Kickstarter. Get me reading that poetry. Bye for now.